There's a mental operating system running your life, but no one ever taught you how to install it, refactor it, or update it. It's invisible, but it runs everything. What you think is possible, what you allow yourself to feel, how you respond to tension, silence, and uncertainty. Most people never touch it. They just run with what they inherited and then wonder why clarity, peace, and direction never stick. Because here's the truth. You can't build a clear life on inherited code. You can't architect from someone else's version of reality. And you definitely can't create alignment if you've never questioned the internal system running the show. Most people don't need motivation. They need an internal audit, not of their actions, but of the beliefs and assumptions beneath them. That's where clarity begins, not by doing more, but by asking deeper. Think about it like this. You'd never run a business on outdated software, but you're likely running your mind on mental code that hasn't been updated since childhood. You have systems that were installed by parents, culture, schooling, and early survival experiences. And now, as an adult, you're still running the same OS, but you're trying to grow, build, create, and lead, which means your inner code is out of sync with your outer expansion. That's not a personal flaw. That's a signal that it's time to architect, not just react. Because reaction is fast, but architecture is sovereign. Reaction says, what's the next task? Architecture asks, who is the version of me that this task is for? Reaction follows noise. Architecture follows signal. And the longer that you wait to shift from one to the other, the more time you spend building something that doesn't feel like you. This is the fork in the road. Keep running inherited scripts or begin writing your own code. Consciously, clearly, slowly. Let's zoom in. There are two versions of you always in tension. Number one is the default self. It has inherited beliefs, outdated emotional responses, and automated decisions based on past pain or social survival. It's the you that runs on autopilot. It gets the job done, but it also keeps you looping. And number two is the design self. This self is reflective, intentional, architecting from the current version of who you are, in communication with your future self. This is the you that pauses and asks, is this still true for me? What version of me made this rule? And do I want to keep following it? Most people never activate their design self, not because they can't, but because their mental OS doesn't even know how to ask the question. That's the real trap. Operating inside of a mind that never pauses to reflect on itself. And when you don't reflect, you don't evolve. You just loop with better language. You explain the pain instead of escaping it. This is how smart, self-aware people stay stuck. They know all the systems. They study the frameworks. They even talk about alignment, but they're still operating from an emotional script that was written in survival, not presence, not clarity, not authorship. This is why the design self is so rare, because it requires courage to outgrow the version of you that once kept you safe. Let me give you a simple mental model. It's the 4 core layers of your internal operating system. Number one, you have input filters. It's how you process reality. Most people don't see what's true. They see what they've been trained to pay attention to. If your input filter is shaped by fear or unworthiness, you'll find chaos even in stillness. Number two is the emotional drivers. These are the rules behind the reactions. If I disappoint someone, I'm unsafe. If I slow down, I'll be forgotten. If I don't perform, I don't belong. These beliefs run your nervous system, and until you update them, you keep reacting like the world is the same place that hurt you years ago. Number three, meaning assigners. Your mental operating system assigns meaning to everything, but if you never audited the system, you'll keep assigning disempowering interpretations to neutral situations. A slow month becomes I'm failing. A quiet friend becomes I'm being rejected. A pause becomes I'm lost. But meaning isn't truth. Meaning is code, and it can be rewritten. Number four, action loops. This is where the strategy lives, but most people start here. They try to change habits without changing inputs. They try to shift execution without shifting identity. They try to force output on top of emotional misalignment. That's like writing clean code on top of corrupted architecture. It might work, but only temporarily. So here's what I invite you to reflect on and ask yourself, what operating system am I still running? What version of me wrote these rules? And do they still apply? What belief or emotional driver needs to be rewritten before I ask for clarity? Because clarity doesn't come from adding more inputs. It comes from removing the outdated code that's been quietly deciding everything for you. The design self isn't louder than the default one. It's just quieter, more precise, more expensive to ignore. Because what you don't update, you repeat. You'll keep building structures that collapse under the weight of a self that was never consulted. You'll create offers that feel hollow. You'll accept clients that feel heavy. You'll optimize calendars that feel suffocating. And all the while, you'll think you're making progress, but deep down, you'll feel it. Something's off, something's unspoken, something's misaligned. And that something is usually the design self, trying to be heard under the noise. You don't need to start over. You don't need to burn it down. You just need to start listening to the version of you that's still underneath all the optimization. Clarity isn't a lightning strike. It's a system. And like any system, it either runs you or you refactor it. You don't need a new app. You need a new architecture. And it starts with the version of you that knows how to slow down long enough to remember who's really writing the code. Because no amount of output can protect you from misalignment. No system is smart enough to outrun an outdated identity. This is the edge that most people never reach. Not because it's hidden, not because it's quiet. It doesn't shout, it doesn't push, it just waits for you to pause, to listen, to reclaim authorship. Not with the dramatic reinvention, but with the single question: does this version of me still feel true?